My name's Laura Curtis-Moss and I work for the East Ayrshire Coalfield Environment Initiative, and today I'm going to give you a short virtual tour of Dalmellington Moss. Dalmellington Moss is a raised bog just outside of Dalmellington in East Ayrshire. It's managed by the Scottish Wildlife Trust and the East Ayrshire Coalfield Environment Initiative. Sometimes we just refer to ourselves as CEI, has been very privileged in the past to have been working with the Scottish Wildlife Trust to help restore it. So you're probably wondering, what exactly is a bog? And that's a very good question. A bog is a freshwater wetland. It's always acidic. If it's alkaline, it gets a different name. And it's made up of something very, very special. And I'll show you what that is. So peat bogs in Scotland come about because of something very, very special called sphagnum moss. What happens is this sphagnum moss is very, very good at absorbing water, and it absorbs lots of water, and over thousands, if not millions of years, it starts to rot down in anaerobic conditions and you get something amazing called peat. Here's some of that amazing sphagnum moss, and to show you just how good it is at holding water, I'm going to give it a squeeze. At the start of this video, I talked about how important peatlands were for combating the climate crisis. So let me explain how a peatland sequesters and stores carbon dioxide. So we've got our peatland, there's all our lovely sphagnum moss and other peatland plants. And they are going to be absorbing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. So all of us animals are breathing out carbon dioxide and the plants are absorbing it. And that's getting sequestered into the soil as carbon. Now, what's really important here is that a peatland has a very, very high water level. And actually, that water level separates the peatland into two layers. We have our oxic layer and our anoxic layer. And it's in our anoxic layer, where we have anaerobic decomposition taking place, that our sphagnum moss is really holding on to that carbon. What happens then if our peatland starts to erode? As well as losing valuable peat, faster water flows can also dry our peatlands out, leaving them vulnerable to a lowered water table and increased release of greenhouse gases. So you can see we've still got our peatland plants doing their job. They're absorbing carbon dioxide from the air, just like before, and that carbon is going into the soil, into the peat. However, because our water table is much lowered, you'll notice that our anoxic layer is much, much smaller and our oxic layer is much bigger. And that's where we start to have a problem. So our dissolved organic carbon doesn't really have anywhere to go. This sequestered carbon will then be released into the atmosphere as carbon dioxide, a greenhouse gas. Degraded peatlands can also release methane into the atmosphere, an even more potent greenhouse gas.